Well, in this week's Cardiology Countdown, we have 3 studies published in JACC and JACC Intervention. And we'll begin with a small study of Duchenne's cardiomyopathy and the use of steroids to prevent development of LV dysfunction. This is a small observational study, about 10 years of follow-up, just 87 patients. But those who were given steroids had a much lower mortality and much lower mortality from heart failure as a major apparent difference between the 2 groups. They also noted, tracking the young patients' LV function, that there was much less of a decline in LV function over time. On an annualized basis, it fell by 0.5% in those who were given steroids versus 1% per year in those not given steroids. Very intriguing data, I think, not randomized, but one that suggests that steroids may play a role a bit earlier in Duchenne's muscular dystrophy as a way to prevent development of cardiomyopathy. Next up is a study that looks at the experience with same-day discharge following uncomplicated PCI as compared with overnight stay and discharge the following day. This was a meta-analysis of observational and randomized trials. There were 5 randomized trials and 8 observational ones. Overall, 111,000 patients in these studies. Now, interestingly, there was a difference in what was seen in the randomized trials, where there was a non-significantly higher risk of complications, very low overall, but the odds ratio was 1.2, but confidence intervals going from 0.8 to 1.7. So not a clear answer. On the other hand, the observational studies of early discharge had a hazard ratio of 0.67, but also large confidence intervals. And so out of this, I think a conclusion that it's not a fully evidence-based approach, but it seems reasonable to target those low-risk patients for same-day discharge. And the number 1 pick this week is a study that looks at a vexing interventional issue: how to approach chronic total occlusions with PCI. This was a review of 65 different studies, many observational, that looked at the angiographic and overall clinical success rates. And very interesting results. I think the angiographic success rate was 77%. Death rate was just 0.2% peri-PCI. Need for merchant CABG is 0.1%, 0.01% stroke risk. MI occurred in 2.5%, and coronary perforation in 2.9%, with tamponade only in 0.3%. And so overall, a relatively positive experience of this observational approach to chronic total occlusion, one that is a field in evolution, but that has some promise. So for this week's Cardiology Countdown, I'm Chris Cannon.